Hey everyone, Kevin from mechanicaladvantage.com. In a previous video, I'll put a card up. I did a video on a method for creating soft jaws and asked the users if they'd like to see other methods for creating soft jaws. And so I'm going to show you an alternate way to create soft jaws. And then I'm going to show you how I create most of my soft jaws when I want to go to the machine to make something. Because I don't want to sit and draw the jaws over and over again. So I've kind of tried to automate the process by incorporating it into one of the smart vise models that I have. So here I have a part. It's called a hub. And let's take a look at some of the things I see about this hub first. And one of the things I note is that this face and the plane that runs through the center of the part are kind of, coplanar. And when I flip this part over, so we machine this part first and we flip it over, I probably want to be able to cut these pockets all the way. So I want my soft jaws to start somewhere below that face right there. So now that we kind of know how the part is set up, let's go ahead and create a soft jaw component and get working on this. So I'm going to right click and say new component. And I'm going to call this component soft jaws, just like I most likely did in the last video, and I'll hit OK. And this time when I do it, my part turns to glass to let me know it's ghosted out. And I'm ready to start creating the planes that I need. So I'm going to start out by creating an offset plane based on the origin, and I'm going to offset that negative 0.05. 50,000ths of an inch should be enough to get me past that pocket down there. So I'm going to go 50,000ths of an inch, and that ensures I can get as much as possible into the soft jaws to hold better as well. Now I could create a sketch and then select the plane, or in this case, because the origin plane is going to be so close, I'm going to click the plane first and then say create a sketch. And now it pre-selected the plane and didn't even offer me the chance to select the origin planes. Just like the last video, I want to draw a couple of rectangles that represent my soft jaw. So I'm just going to kind of drag out a couple of rectangles. And now I want to use constraints to get these set up. So the first constraint is going to be the equal constraint. And I'll choose the top horizontal line of the top rectangle and the top horizontal line of the bottom rectangle and make those equal. And then I'll make an equal constraint between the left vertical edge and the left vertical edge of the other soft jaw. I also want to make sure that these are coplanar or collinear. So I'm going to use the collinear constraint. I'm going to choose the left edge and the left edge. And so my jaws are starting to work out okay. And the last constraint that I want to add is to make sure that my part is centered across the jaw. And I'm going to use the horizontal vertical constraint for that. And I'm going to choose the origin dot. And then here I'm going to hold down my shift button. And as I scrub across one of these horizontal lines, eventually I'll see the midpoint constraint. When I see that, I'll click, and that'll get that set up. So if I want to do a little test now, I can just drag this back and forth. If I make one taller or shorter, I'm getting everything moving the way that I would expect. So now I can start adding some dimensions. I'm going to add a dimension across the top. This is going to be 6 inches in width. This dimension is going to be 1 inch. And I'm going to set my spacing. So from the origin to the bottom horizontal line of the top rectangle, I'll say that that's going to be 0.5. And then I'll repeat that from the origin to the top horizontal line of the bottom rectangle. And I'll place that. But instead of typing in 0.5, I'm going to reference in my first dimension just by clicking on it when it's expecting me to type in the number, and I'll hit enter. And now I see I get that FX 0.5. And if I zoom and look, I'm not really so happy about how close together that is. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. So I'll type in 0.75. And because I linked those two dimensions together, they both update at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with the profile and location of my soft jaws. I'm going to finish my sketch. Go to a home view. And now what I'm going to do is extrude my profiles just like before. However, in the previous video, what I did is I went one way to represent the bottom half of the soft jaw, and then I kind of came back up to capture the outside of the profile. This time, I'm only going to extrude one direction. I'm going to say negative 2 inches, and I'll hit OK. And now I have a set of soft jaws, and my part is clearly interfering with the soft jaws, and that's okay, because I'm going to use a command in Fusion called the combine command. We'll see that this combine command is going to work. It'll work a lot of times, but we'll also see that maybe that there's some, things that are going to cause us some problems as well, that where it might have been easier just to project the outside profile of the part. But you'll get the idea. You'll see how this works. So I'm going to start the combine command. And now I have to select my target body. So the target body is the thing I want the geometry removed from. So that's going to be my soft jaw. And then my tool body is the thing I want to do the cutting. So it's going to be my part. It's currently set to join. I want to make sure that I set that to be a cut. And if I don't choose to keep the tools, which I won't, just so you see what happens, when I hit OK, I get the profile cut, but my part goes away. So let me edit that feature, and I want to go and I want to choose to keep the tools. And now when I hit OK, my part stays on the screen. I'm going to repeat the combine command again. This time the other soft jaw is going to be the target body, and the part is going to be the tool body again. And I want to make sure to keep the tools, and I'll hit OK. And now if I shut off the hub, I get a perfect replica of where my part was sitting, but I also get some things I don't want, like these chamfers and this little artifact and these little sort of holes sticking up where the holes were in the part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get rid of one of these features, and then I'm either going to fast forward through or might even just skip to the end, and we'll come back and we'll see the pocket created. So to delete these things, I'm just going to use the delete face command. So I'm going to click on that face, and on the Mac I'm going to hold down command, and on Windows I'll hold down control, and I'll select on the other faces I want to get rid of. And then I can right click and delete, or hit the delete key on my keyboard. So I'll hit OK, and that feature now goes away. Rather than adding a bunch of delete face commands, I'm just going to edit this, and I'll probably fast forward to this part of the video, or might just come back at the end and start doing the rest of what we need to do. So I'm going to right click on here and say edit feature, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, so I have all my faces selected, so I'm going to hit OK. And now you'll see that all that geometry is removed. And if I turn on my hub, it fits perfectly into that profile. And if I activate the top level, I can go to the inspect and choose interference and click on my three bodies that I have on the screen and tell it to calculate, and no interferences were detected. So here you can see that I didn't have to create any sketches or anything like that, but I did have to do some cleanup work in this case, where these holes would leave the material behind in some of the other places where I didn't want to, like the void underneath there. So that is method one, using the combine command. A lot of times, depending on your geometry, this is going to be a really fast and easy way to do it. Now let's hop over and we'll look at how I create a lot of soft jaws using the smart vise that I have created. So we'll switch to that file now. And so here is a part you previously saw me machine and show how to use the blend toolpath on. And what I'd like to be able to do is to flip this part over and machine off the back side. So I have this M-lock vise, and I set this up with some soft jaws. Now I had to change the width of the jaws so that I could hold this entire part, so I made a small modification to my vise for that to happen. But if I expand out my M-lock jaw, my M-lock vise, as you say, you'll see that I have a rear soft jaw and a front soft jaw. It's not the same jaw loaded in there twice. I made sure that they're independent. That way I can just drop in my part, set my spacing, and cut it out of the jaws. If I put the same jaw on there twice, once I made a cut on one, the same cut would appear on the back side on the other jaw. So I made sure to make those two jaws independent from each other. You'll also notice that there's a joint origin here. Right now it looks like it's on the edge of these two jaws, and I've set this up parametrically. So if I go to the modify menu and I choose change parameters and move this around a little bit, what you'll see is that I have a jaw spacing parameter. So let me just put 1 inch in there. And when I hit OK, this is parametrically set up so that it always stays centered between these two faces, so I can easily assemble my part to that joint origin, which is what I'm going to do next. So to get my part located, I'm going to add a joint between this face right here. So I'll just go grab that point, and then I want to go grab this joint origin. So when that highlights, I'll click on it, and it moves my part together. However, I need to be flipped up the other way, so I'm going to check the flip button to flip it upside down. And I don't want it to be exactly flush. I'm going to pull it up, and I think I'll pull it up about 0.125 inches, about 1/8 of an inch. And we'll hit OK. And now you'll see that I'm on the flat as much as I can. I could sink this down a little bit if I wanted to. Let me just go edit that joint, and maybe I'll, instead of 125, how about I say like 50 thousandths of an inch should be enough to get that part above and still be able to put a chamfer on the backside or whatever as I want to. Again, now I could combine this. I could just combine, subtract it, but I'm going to get those slope faces in the backside. So instead, I am going to create a sketch on the soft jaw faces and use the profile of the part to cut this out. So now what I want to do is I want to create a sketch, and notice I have the top level design activated. This is what I do a lot of times in CAM because it's just normal for me to think rather than it belonging in one of the components. I just think the design is what owns this cam that I'm going to do. So I'm going to click on this top face and it's going to project in those edges. I want to do P for project, and I'm going to project in the other soft jaw body and my part body, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now, I really don't need to worry about capturing this. I'll use this geometry here and maybe one of these pieces over here to kind of do that very same thing. So I'm just going to let this cut run off the edge. So let me just draw a little helper geometry here. I'm just going to draw from there to there, and I'll draw a line from here to here, and that looks good to me. And then on this side, let's see how I want to create this geometry. So I kind of want to have this captured as much as possible. So I think I'll pretty well leave it how things are. I'm not going to make many changes to this so that we can just cut in here. I could draw out and out, but I think you'll get the idea. You'll make this work for your shape however you want it to go. So I'm going to finish my sketch, and I'm going to turn off my blend component, and I want to extrude in this, this, and this, and then I'm also going to grab this, and I want to grab these, but it appears that there's an issue. Okay, so let's visually take a look. Now right away, I don't know how apparent this is to you, but I see some problems. I see a problem right here, and I see a problem right here, and one right here, and right here. Notice how they're different color than the rest of the projected. So it's like they're not matching perfectly. So let's hit cancel, and let's go back, and we'll just edit that sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete off this line, and I'll delete off this line, and I'm going to delete off this line, and I'll get rid of that line right there. I'll just start the line command by clicking L on my keyboard, and I'm just going to draw in those lines manually. So we'll go there to there and there to there, and then we'll come back over here and we'll do the same thing from here to here and from here to there. I'm going to finish my sketch, and now you can see I get all the areas that I want where it wasn't selecting before. So it looks like if we look at this body, this is a spline profile that is projecting in, and it looks like it had a little problem figuring out how to match that geometry exactly, but this should work. And now what I can do is I can shut my body off again, and I want to go and extrude those areas. So I'll say this area and this area and that area. I also want this, that, and that. So that's the profiles that I want to go and cut. I'm going to turn my body back on, and now for the distance, I'm going to say to object, and I'll click on this face down here, make sure it goes down to that depth, and I'll hit OK. And now if I turn off my blend component, you'll see that I've created a spot for the soft jaws. One problem I still have left, at least one problem, is I can't make square corners with the round end mill, so I need to come in here and do a little relieving. So I'll put a sketch on this face. I'm going to delete off all the projections. I just want some of the projections, so I'm just going to project in the different edges. Let me redo that. I want to do entities this time, so I'm just going to grab these points going across wherever I want kind of a drill point. So I'm going to use a drill just to kind of relieve these out. I'll hit OK. And then I'm going to create some points. So this is the drill point where I want these to be drilled. So I'll just go there and there. We'll come over here and we'll do a drill here, and we'll do a drill there. And we'll drop a couple of other drills. Now I know all these faces here are collinear, so I can just use the horizontal constraint between all of these to get them lined up this way. And like that. And then we'll go like that. Okay, now I can just start dimensioning how I want these offsets to be. So let me do a dimension between here and here. Let's set this to be 0.03. If I hover my mouse or if I double click this, I see that that dimension is going to be D13, so I can just keep referencing D13 as I go. So maybe I'll just call this D13. And don't forget that you could also just highlight the first dimension, but when I get way over to the edge, it's going to take a little bit of work to do that. So I just remember that if I can know what that dimension name is, I don't have to keep on referencing the dimension. I can just type it in. So I'll just keep doing that. Get that, D13. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't know exactly if this is where I want my drilled holes to be. And by typing in D13 all the time, eventually I'll just be able to change one dimension and have everything update the way I want it to, rather than have to go and change every single one of them. So D13, and I'll finish my sketch. And now I can just go grab my hole command, and I'll grab my different points. I'm not even going to worry about the whole dimension yet. I'm just going to grab those different points. For my distance, I'm going to say 2, and we'll just select this. One of these faces down here will work just fine. And then for the diameter, I think I can get away with using 1/8 of an inch drill in these. So I'll do 1/8 of an inch, and if we look, it should round out all these corners just fine. And now I'll hit OK. And the corners are sort of dog bone now, and when I turn on my part, now I could just come and drill those corners out before I do my adaptive clearing or whatever toolpath I'm going to use to rough this out. And that is how I quite frequently make my soft jaws, either by subtracting or by using the project command, whichever is handier at the time. But I joint the component that I'm trying to machine to the soft jaws that I have in my model. I make my cutout, and that way I don't have to constantly keep on drawing my soft jaws. And I have a nice accurate representation that I can come and check to make sure I'm not getting interfered with. Now when I look at this, yeah, so here would be a good example. This part now is actually below the jaws on the outside. So if I came with a face mill, there's a chance I could hit my outside jaw. So all I'd have to do is come and edit my joint, and I think I did the wrong joint there. Instead of the 50 thousandths of an inch, I could say maybe 80 thousandths of an inch. Everything updates, and when I take a look at it, now the top surface is above my vise jaw, and I know I'm not going to hit it if I do like a facing operation on there, so I'm good to go. So that's why I often like to work in vise jaws, because I don't have to do the mental math in my head to figure out if I'm going to hit or not. So hopefully you guys liked the combined method. You can see it's got some pros and cons depending on the geometry. No sketches are required in certain cases, but you could, on the hub part, you could see that I had a lot of cleanup to do in this particular case to get rid of all those void spaces where the holes were or where the undercuts were. So if you guys have any questions, leave them below in the comments. And as always, you can send me an email to kevin@mechanicaladvantage.com with any requests or questions or anything you want to know. So hopefully that wraps this video up, and thanks for watching.